Dial H number 0, written by China Maiville, art by Mateus Santaluco. This is an earlier incarnation of the dial, and it opens up, as far as I can tell, thousands of years ago, with a old, I want to say it's a Roman army invading some sort of other land. They never get too specific in it. It seems kind of Mayan, but it's Romans versus Mayans. I don't think that happened. Anyway, we see one young girl named Laodice. She is convinced that this sundial, which is improperly made, it only has 10 segments on it, is the key to their salvation from this invading horde. And she has a few believers, a few people who are willing to help her, and they position the stone at a specific sunlight angle, trying to get it to work. And she is just trying to desperately figure out how to make it activate. And she looks at the oncoming army, and apparently there was a being called the Mususu, which is a beast of Babylon that is being used by the invading army in order to make their attacks even more swift. It is completely merciless and kills without question. And as she's looking at this dial, it starts approaching her, and she just runs her hand on the dial in the proper order in order to get it to activate. And we see her cycle through a few possible powers before finally coming up across Bumper Carla, who is a 1950s looking woman riding a bumper car. And she immediately starts taking out the Mususu and starts engaging it in a fight. And she uses all of her flight and electricity-based powers in order to taunt it off of a cliff, and ends up killing it. And after that happens, the Bumper Carla power disappears, and she turns back into Laodice, and everyone's like, what the hell was that? And she's like, I don't know. I have no idea. But the army is taken care of. We're done. We've succeeded. And everyone is immediately singing her praises, saying oh, you need to be the new queen. You were the one who saved all of our people. She's like, no, I'm not a royal. I don't want to rule, anything like that. And she's encouraged by one of her young friends saying all right, fine, don't call yourself a queen, but you are favored by the gods. You need to step up and help our people. So cut to several years later, and the young girl has been on an expedition trying to figure out the origins of this dial. She's been around the world, and she finally comes back, and Laodice welcomes her with open arms. And the young girl's like, yes, no, it's great to be back, but I believe that I have been followed. Somebody has heard about me asking about this dial, and I think that they have heard of it as well, and they probably want answers. And Laodice reveals that, yeah, no, there was a guy who got here 3 days before you showed up, and we've been keeping him imprisoned because we don't know who he is or what he wants. And he seems to be able to sense Laodice every time she gets near to his cage. And he screams out, Dialer, you have to listen, there's a danger. And they have no idea what he's talking about. But regardless, they arrive to Laodice's quote-unquote throne room, and we see the dial is in ruins. She's actually destroyed it. And she doesn't want to let the person out of the cage for fear of what they may do if they discover that she did break the dial. So at this point, apparently it's up for debate whether or not she broke it or whether or not it was broken by the Mususu. But regardless, as they're sitting there in the throne room talking about what to do next with the visitor, they hear a commotion outside, and in comes to the throne room Bumper Carla, just by herself individually. And she sees Laodice and accuses her of being a murderer, and immediately goes and attacks her. And she's like, no, there's so much blood on your head. This is all your fault. This is for them. This is vengeance. And she attacks Laodice and goes up to the jail cell, where there is a stereotypical looking superhuman, superhero behind the bars. And Bumper Carla breaks open the doors, and the guy inside, she's calling him Slim. He's like, you know she's not responsible for this. This isn't on her. And she's like, no, I know it's her. I know she's the one who caused this, and I'd do it again. I'm not sorry for what I did, even if it was against the rules. And Bumper Carla then disappears into a portal as Slim is also standing there. And the young girl asks Slim, like, where did you send her? What's going on? She's like, she's being sent to be judged because she committed a crime. But apparently what happened was there's a whole bunch of worlds out there where all of these heroes actually exist. And Bumper Carla was a hero on one of these worlds that she just kept everybody safe. And she was like using her powers to like transport people around. But then for a brief couple like seconds, she lost her powers. And because of that, a bunch of people died on her Earth, all under her watch. And she wasn't able to handle that. She wasn't able to handle, like, that she lost her power. She thought they must have been stolen by someone. She knew that. And so she went looking and she tried to figure it out how, until finally she came across the portal to Laodice and discovered she's the one who did it. She's the one who did it. And despite Slim not believing any of this, thinking like, no, your powers just blipped out and it's a tragedy, but it happens, Slim does end up coming through the portal just to try to warn Laodice, just to try to warn her that Bumper Carla is coming for blood. And he leaves still believing that there's no way that Laodice could have done it, because there's nothing on Earth that could have done that in his mind. As we see, still the dial is broken in her throne room. So yeah, this is a huge lore dump for how the dial actually works, in terms of it just takes powers from heroes on other worlds to some extent. I mean, that's huge within its own right. We thought these were just, I don't know, either programmed into the dial or just randomly came up. But no, it's a whole thing, which it leans into the memories. You having memories of these different people. You are literally taking their identity away. And that's probably why she knew Laodice took it, was because she probably gained Laodice's memories. It's like a body swap sort of situation thing going on. Super interesting. I'm really loving how this is weaving in and not just being a stereotypical, like, oh, here's just some basic origin story that, like, whatever about it. No, this is giving us lore and telling us, like, here is something that is pivotal to the story itself as well. So definitely loving this. Anything to help me understand this series a little bit better, honestly. So I'm going to go ahead and give this one I'll give it an 8.5, honestly. I think that this issue is, if you're into the Dial H series at all, this one is probably critical in terms of understanding the origins. And again, they don't even know where this dial came from. They thought it has always been there. So while there's still mysteries, this is a good lore dump of understanding a bit more of how it works, and is probably going to be critical moving forward. So definitely enjoyed it.